Hey folks, today is August the 22nd. It's currently 8:53 in the morning. As you guys can see here, we're in the fxsimplifier trade room. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's happened Sunday and so far today. All right, so Sunday was the 21st. So as you guys can see, we've had quite a few trades already. Had an $80 winner there, $83 loser, a $90 winner, $40 winner, $22 winner, $30 winner. So quite a few nice trades here. And we have this AUD CAD trade, which you guys can see right here. 91 pip profit target, 68 pip stop loss. And then the AUD Swiss franc trade for a buy as well. All right, let's go ahead and jump in the trade room and see what they're discussing right now.
Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an attendee in listen-only mode.
A potential break, and in fact, you even have a short-term uptrend line here, which is being questioned right now with this price action trading near the lows of today's session. So I think a break below the, let's say to a 3-day low, a break below this area in Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, this could be nice for a swing trade to the downside. Maybe you come back here, retest this low from early August, possibly, a sharp breakdown could reach that easily in my view. But at any rate, that's one on my swing watch list here. That is kind of bearish. In fact, if any of you have ever been in the stock world and maybe you've come across the Investors Business Daily newspaper, the founder of that wrote a book, and one of his main patterns was the cup and handle. Okay, so without going through Bill O'Neill's whole spiel, which is I'm not seeing here. I'm seeing kind of the inverse of this, which is an upside down cup and handle. So you see a rally that failed to go anywhere, came all the way back to the origin, right? 100% retracement. July rallied, came all the way back to earth. And have we rallied again? No, we've just basically gone sideways, maybe a slight up tilt. And that is, quote unquote, the handle. Here's the cup upside down. Here's the handle. And this would suggest a lower breakout as well based on that.
No, the slight move up actually kind of matters, right? Because what's it showing? It shows that for about 2 seconds, the bulls came in, they actually couldn't sustain a move higher, right? It really is that, okay, that last move up, the cut part, right? Okay, these buyers came in, they got beat down, and now they try to come in, and they can't get anything going. It shows kind of an exhaustion of buyers. It's kind of part of the idea of the pattern, really. And
yes.
Then so then a break lower is just saying, hey, the sellers actually took over, right? They're definitely more aggressive than the buyers. And I agree. I like looking at all the end pairs, because not even fundamentally, based off what I think the Bank of Japan should do, I've been trying to be bullish on the yen, but I finally threw that in last week. The past 2-3 weeks I've been like switching sides, because not that whatever Bank of Japan, if they want to do the things they claim they want to do, there's a lot of stuff they're going to have to do, but so far they're not doing it, and the yen just keeps strengthening a teeny bit here and a teeny bit there, a bunch here and a bunch there across the board. Like a lot of the yen pairs look very similar.
Yes, they have, and backtracking, I agree with your assessment of the slight upside. I mean, that is what the bulls have been able to do here has been minimal. It's been pretty laughable, at least. Now that can change quickly, but this bar, this initial rally didn't get anywhere, and then this bar was a respectable day, and yet was able to build on that expanded range bar. No. Couldn't build to the upside, couldn't break above this declining moving average. I mean, this really looked like, okay, maybe this bearish setup is going to be negated here. and Canadian dollar is really going to be able to rally against the end. Crude has been tremendously strong. Didn't matter. I mean, there's that's crude priced in U.S. dollars, but at any rate, this is quite a bearish pattern, and I like its potential to the downside. It's more of a swing idea, but I will take a closer look at it for its potential here as well. As far as open trade idea, Aussie Swissy hasn't done much. It met entry and then backed off, so it's really neutral at the moment. Okay, so that is, we'll certainly see the chart when I backtrack to that, but not much going on there. I still like the whole daily setup there. It's not really at the stop or near the stop at the moment. It's fairly low risk, so would love to see it be moving up, making new highs, which is not happening yet, at least. However, for those other reasons, not super concerned about it either. Okay, so back to CAD Yen. And I've got more lines than I normally would have on any chart here, but you've got kind of symmetrical triangle, those thinner lines, and then I have the thicker horizontal dash line here at lows. So you can just see breaking a little bit below. At least it's at the lower end of this range. So, certainly a break below. Personally, I'd like to see it break all of the lows of the last few days. That would be below 77.57, at least on these charts. And we're still above that by 13 or so pips. High above today's high, or maybe even the highs of late Friday, 78.17. According to this feed, stop might be up here. More swing-oriented stop would really be also above the past few days highs, so that would be about 100 pips. So a couple different ways to approach it, but at any rate, that is an hourly version of that daily pattern that we have been talking about.
And again, there even. I was too slow.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
And so we actually I sent David a thing over the weekend, a thing that I read. It was interesting, and it made, for the most part, made a lot of sense. I was going to say total sense, and it's too advanced for me. It doesn't make total sense yet. You have to read it a few more times. But some researchers kind of found what traders, how they're actually looking at things. And it turns out, and no surprise, that when they're looking at price, a big part of what they're looking at is really picturing it kind of as people in a room and what are they doing, right? And, we talk about the psychology of a pattern. And so with a big descending, ascending triangle, what do you have? You have, that one was a descending triangle, right? So the top part was angled down, the other part was pretty flat, right? The bottom part was flat. And what you saw was, the buyers aren't able to, So you see the big thrust up there over whatever on the 11th, I guess, middle left. Okay, a big move up, got shot down. Kind of more move, slowly going up, got shot down. Big move up, shot down, shot down. Basically, the buyers aren't able to they're not strong enough to really get this thing going and keep going. And what you see is they keep selling it down. The sellers keep selling it more and more aggressively. And so then what happens? Not necessarily, it hasn't happened yet on this, but if it breaks lower, now all of a sudden, all the buyers are now underwater. Every buyer during this whole pattern is now underwater. Right now, there's a few that are at break even. Some are underwater, but the minute it breaks, they are underwater. And none of the sellers are underwater anymore, so they're all at a profit. So now and so the psychology of these patterns, right, of volatility contracting, volatility expanding type thing, is you can see where there's trap buyers, trap sellers, kind of how people are positioned. The bigger the pattern, we look at daily and weekly charts, and we also look at monthly charts. You can really see all the different levels of investor class, everything from the market making, day trader, what have you, to the central bank, sovereign wealth fund, right? Super long-term money, super short-term money, and everything in between, hedge funds, corporate hedgers, what have you. And So, on those long-term patterns, what's nice is you can see that, like, literally everybody that was a buyer or that was a seller, as a case may be, is trapped, or, was on the wrong side of the trade, and now they're actually at a loss, and now it's hurting their P&L, that type of thing, their profit and loss. And so the psychology of the patterns really does matter. Otherwise, they're kind of useless, right? And you can draw lines on a chart all day long, but you kind of explain why you're drawing the line. Because I know there's multiple things. For instance, okay, Elliott wave. It's different than how I look at things, and yet it's not that much different from how I look at things. Because like you look at, okay, the 5-wave structure, like, but then you look at why, and Elliott wave person will explain, okay, why this wave is this way. For instance, the third wave in an up move or down move, for that matter, in a 5-wave structure is almost always going to be the biggest wave. And why? Well, the trend's early, but it got going, right? First wave kind of comes out of nowhere, relatively speaking. Second wave is a pullback, and now the next one, no one even believes the move's real till the second half of it, right? It keeps going and going and going. Now they all pile in and moves higher, that type of thing. So if you're drawing lines, if you can explain what they mean, they're really worthwhile, I think, or very useful, right? They're actually telling you something. I see some people's charts, I'm like, dude, I don't know what's happening on this. It looks like some kid with a crayon and a ruler just attacked it. Because there's so many lines, so many things happening. And you're like, I don't know, but...
All right, guys, we've just passed the 10-minute mark, as you can see here. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it, and I'll come back at about, I'm guessing about 10 o'clock. And we'll get an update on what these two trades are doing, and also what they're talking about in the trade room. So I'll be back momentarily. All right, folks, as you guys can see here, we were entered into another trade, and that is on the Euro CAD. We can take a look at that real quick, and that is a buy trade. And let's see what that is. Stop on that is 25. And they haven't entered a profit target on that one yet. I'm sure they will by the time they close out the trade room. Let's go ahead and jump back in here real quick. And also real quick, let's take a look at that AUD CAD. All right, so the market's been going up slowly, then going sideways. It's done that a couple times here. So hopefully it's going sideways. We'll get another push up eventually. Have to wait and see what happens. But let's go ahead and follow along in the room here and see what's going on, see what they're talking about.
Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an attendee in listen-only mode.
More and more people use that, and then there is some self-fulfilling prophecy in there. And then, then we got automated, and people went to the things that have been working for them. And so, again, for whatever reason, the 200 period is closest thing I've found anyways to like the indicator.
Yeah, I agree. And if we had video, I'd put a book in front of the camera, how to draw a chart or something like that. It's actually out of view in my office here, but essentially it is a technical analysis book pre-computer days that was giving you full instructions and tools and which pencils you need to draw your charts. So if you next time you get mad at your software, whatever software that is, remember that you're not drawing your charts every day by hand, which is really something I happily never had to do, and I'm happy I did not have to do it. Maybe I'd have a little bit more insight if I had to do that every day. But wow, what a hassle.
Yeah, we were talking at the conference, David and I, and somehow that came up. But I know a woman that actually she keeps about 400 charts up by hand. I'm like, whoa. She still uses a computer as well, so I'm like, why don't you move on to that only? Because it's a lot of graphing paper, and that's a lot of charting.
That is a lot of work.
Yeah, anyway, she started, I think, in 1971 or 68. She actually worked with Mammoth. But, so she, back when you had to chart by hand, and she's just diehard charter and keeps doing it. And she's like, well, it's worked for me, and so I just haven't switched. I'm like, fair enough, I guess.
Yeah, that's an interesting decision. But, yeah, I have no perspective on that other than, wow. Gotta leave an extra couple of hours in your day for that, maybe?
I mean, at least an hour, right? Even if you get really fast, like I don't see how you can do it much faster than that. Like, if there's no way you're speeding that up to 20 minutes. Maybe you're doing point and figure, but that's different.
Yeah, that is different. EuroCAD, back to entry here. Aussie Swissy, slightly improved. Just kind of neutral here in today's session. Even Pound CAD, which is not a trade idea, but one that was really the nicest base coming into the day, still basing, but hasn't been able to move much. I mean, that's been the story of today's Monday so far in NY Pipper. I'm just kind of not much change. I would say maybe with the Kiwi as an exception, not much change since I came in this morning and started looking at markets. Just kind of not a neutral day. Certainly in the overnight session into the morning, we certainly had some movement. Nothing over 1% up or down. Not even close to over 1% up or down in terms of the focus pairs we look at. However, not much movement since about 6:15, 6:30. Apart from the Kiwi improving generally, and maybe something else I'm missing, but pretty much the same as it's been for a few hours. So a little bit, no fireworks happening this morning, but the patterns, I still like them all, just not really, no one's stepping on the accelerator with these particular pairs at the moment. We've got, let's see, it's 10:08. We're in the last hour. In terms of data, I think we're beyond any data that was occurring within this time frame. Certainly can double check that. There is some, I'm on the wrong day. Let's go back to Monday. There is some yen data tonight that is of medium importance here, according to dailyfx.com's calendar, which we're looking at the moment. But yeah, we're beyond both of those 8:30 Eastern data points, which were low importance according to this calendar, and didn't lead to much movement that I noticed. So in terms of other data, you can see right on screen, really the only medium importance data is that 10 p.m. Eastern yen related Nikkei. Whoops, moving around a little bit too much here. PMI. Tuesday, there is a fair amount of data, no high importance items. However, Wednesday, similar, a lot of medium importance items, some Eurozone, GDP. There is even some Swissy data. That's all 2 a.m. Eastern. And release, there is some pound data at 4:30 a.m. Eastern, kind of a common time for some UK or pound-related data, and then a bunch of U.S. data, mostly crude inventories and existing home sales. Certainly we'll be tuned into that on Wednesday. Tag talk about Fed activity and talks and so forth later in the week, really with the Jackson Hole Conference. What is the name of that? That has a different name, doesn't it, Tag, than just Jackson Hole? What is the...
Oh, yeah, they have a whole page. Let's see, Kansas City Fed.
Well, I can't remember. There's not a more formal name for the
the Economic Symposium. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Jackson
Right.
Hole Economic Symposium.
And it's really I'm sure it's an important event on a lot of levels. I mean, it as a trader, you got to be aware of it. It seems on the surface to be a real good excuse for a bunch of very, high-profile economists and related
To go fly fishing?
To go
Absolutely.
fly fishing and
No. That's literally what it is. No joke. That's literally what it is. The guides are back because you not only have all the economists and stuff that are there, then you also have everybody from Wall Street that's out there, and it's straight up fly fishing heaven. That's what everyone out there is doing. I'm really surprised. Honestly, I'm surprised they don't do it in the winter to go ski because it's very much an excuse to go fly fishing.
Well, that's Davos, is it not?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, Davos. Yeah, yeah. But you can get more staff economists to get over to Jackson Hole, whereas it's harder to fly them all over to Davos. Like it's
yeah.
you only take a 5 or 10 person contingent to Davos. To Jackson, you're like, hey, we'll take everybody. But yeah, no, it's very much a fly fishing event where they also talk about the economy or monetary policy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's just something that I usually think about and then don't think about again. So good to hear that confirmed. Yeah, that's hey, why not, right? It's perfectly timed. Everyone's gonna have their family vacation, and then say, well, honey, I've got to go out and do this important economic conference. And why are you packing your fly fishing gear and
networking? It's called networking.
Yeah. So at any rate, I was on the calendar, and then I got off on that theory, which Tag confirms. So there's Thursday. There is more yen-related data, CPI, and that is at what is that about? Is that 9:30 Eastern, or so in the evening? Friday, not expecting much late in the day data, but there is a lot of there's GDP. 4:30 Eastern overnight on Friday, and as there often is, 8:30 Eastern, a lot of U.S. data on Friday, which then usually puts an end to the important data numbers that we need to track. Okay, so just to run through the week, we had touched on the early part of the week earlier, but not much after that, so wanted to point that out. All of the bases, all the patterns, we haven't gone back to SGD. That was looking like a bearish daily pattern, and that has now broken out to a multi-day high. So this is one that is trading at a multi-day high. It's up 0.4%, which is pretty respectable. It's one of the top 2 USD-based pairs. And it's pulled back pretty nicely on the hourly here, right to the rising 20-hour moving average. So this is one that, for the very first time, I mean, it had a good day on Friday, no doubt, but now it's broken out of a range. I mean, it's literally trading at a multi-day high at the moment and has pulled back to hourly support, giving one a potential low-risk entry into, or really a low-risk entry in my view, into a potential, further upside. So that's one that some of you might want to, more experienced traders might want to consider taking a closer look at. This is something I had mentioned earlier. We might have seen the chart earlier briefly, but looking pretty interesting, having tested the 20-hour average, which is rising, and succeeded in that test. It bounced off of it, and now it looks to be trying to maybe mount a little bounce off of that area. So kind of neutral. Yeah, go ahead, Tag.
Random fact.
All right, folks, it is now 10:15, as you guys can see here. So far in the day, we've been up, about $30, and we've also been down about $30, which is where we're at right now. So nothing major has happened here. Let me see on this AUD Swiss franc trade. That is a buy, and that's gotten pretty close to our stop on several occasions here, as you guys can see. So hopefully we'll get a push up there to get us away from that level. But for right now, I believe they shut everything down right around 11 o'clock. So I'm going to come back maybe 10 minutes before 11, and we'll see how our positions are doing. And hopefully this trade will still be there. But it's looking pretty close to getting us taken out on that one. It was about 2 pips away from getting stopped out at one point here. So we'll see what happens momentarily. All right, I'll be back with you guys shortly. All right, guys, it looks like one of our trades got closed out here. Let's see what that was. All right, so they closed it out at $1.55. And that was this Euro CAD trade here. Let me go back here and see what he has to say about that.
Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an attendee in listen-only mode.
That took forever doing nothing and just blasted off. So I'll bring up a chart of that in a minute. But Aussie CAD, here we are, going into 11 a.m. Eastern, and this is something we do see with some regularity, which is movement around this time. So we see, Aussie CAD is progressing to the upside, new high in that at 0.9856 according to these charts. Forex account will be a little bit higher. Aussie Swissy shaping up a little bit. This is an open trade idea from this morning here in the NY Pip room. It's still around break even, but obviously just in terms of its development, it's looking a little bit better. Naturally, what's going to be the real game changer potentially, or at least something I really want to see, which is a new high on the day. Okay, so it made a new high on the day when it met entry. Actually, no, it didn't. Scratch that. I would like to see a new high taking out around the 5 a.m. Eastern high that was made earlier this morning. So the target has been issued here in in Aussie Swissy at 0.7372 target. And if that could be reached, that would be a very nice payoff on the approximate risk taken at the outside of this outset of this trade. It'd be almost 3 to 1, so it'd be over 2 to 1. But obviously, that's just in theory if this can rally to this target. Which again, I like the potential for, because why? Because the daily just experienced a multi-day pullback to a prior low, formed a bullish hammer candle on Friday. It's in an uptrend overall, this pair, rising 200 MA, on and on. So, liking the potential of this, even though it was really got off to a slow start and kind of flirting even with a stop out earlier today. Not within a pip or so, I don't believe, but within a few pips. All right, pound CAD. I mentioned that as just a watch idea earlier before it broke out, and it broke out. Bringing this up. Hold on, folks. There we go. So it did then break out in this area. That was shortly after we started this morning. That was around 8:15 or so a.m. Broke out and really didn't do much. Came back quite a ways, probably 25 or so pips after breakout, maybe even 30 or so. It depends what this distance is here. Maybe not that far. Okay, so maybe 20 pips or so. At any rate, held on, got back to the highs of the base, couldn't do it, started to break down again, and finally you saw a real breakout here, and it's got some good momentum at the moment. So I don't know if any of the, I said watch idea for experienced traders only. It is the pound, is a little bit more volatile, so on and so forth, but that's one that perhaps some were able to capitalize on. Obviously, nothing official, nothing in the results that we would tally, but just following up on that idea. So we've touched base with Open, FX Team Alert, Aussie CAD, nice momentum, Aussie Swissy starting to look like something again like it did when we issued it. We just touched on pound CAD. I just want to kind of touch on all these ideas. NZD Swissy is strengthening too. Why do I like that? I like to see NZD Swissy strengthening because the New Zealand dollar and the Australian dollar are certainly related in both, both being very metals tied, precious metals tied, or correlated, and that's making a new high. So that's a good sign for Australian dollar, Swiss franc, which is of course an open trade idea here. So I like to see that. That's just kind of a very basic concept in trading. Whether it's stocks, you like to see the same sector doing well, even if you're if you're in a trade in that same sector, let's say biotech or whatever it is. Same thing here in currencies. Something else that's related to Australian dollar is strong against the same currency that you're trading counter to as well. Then that's something that should be encouraging at least, and maybe it's good information one way or the other. Okay. Other ideas that are noteworthy here as we're almost at 11. So this is, we talked about this at some length. CAD yen, this is weakening to my eye. It's, as I said earlier, kind of feels heavy up here. We went through all the reasons why. This looks like a potential swing breakdown in CAD yen, and looking, he has moved down to that lower boundary here in that 77 spot, 57 area. Obviously, different feeds will differ on that on that price. And it looks like the CAD is really getting beat up. The Aussie CAD shaping up here as we move right into 11 a.m. Eastern.
US dollar taking a hit right now for sure.
Yeah, okay. And I hadn't really noticed as much US dollar, maybe because I'm looking at US CAD trading pretty much unchanged against each other. Yeah, I see that US dollar, Singapore dollar getting beaten up. So yeah, I'm seeing a little bit of that US weakness and a lot of that CAD weakness as pairs are really really having a good moment against the CAD. So folks, 3 hours have passed already. Amazing. So Euro CAD, this is not open. I never got around to changing that status because a lot is happening here in the last little part of our session. Let me at least just say closed, break even if I don't even adjust the prices here, but that was closed, break even. In the Simplifier, got the same exit in the Simplifier. It did move higher afterwards. Unexpectedly, really got weak, and a lot of things have strengthened against it. But we are benefiting from that in the Aussie CAD trade alert, and we'll look for Aussie Swissy to continue improving. Okay, so specifically Aussie Swissy, this remains open, okay, and the stop is going to remain the same. There is already a target here, and it's already open, so it's been entered. What can you expect? Here's what you can expect. Potentially, this is going to remain open. Potentially, no further updates at all, right? It just either stops out for a loss, or it rallies to the target and sells out for a gain. Okay, so that's the no further alerts scenario. However, it's possible that neither of those things happen. It doesn't come down to the stop, or it doesn't rally all the way to the target, and further action is needed. In that case, I will potentially issue an email alert that will also go to the app. In the subject line, it will say NY Pip Room Update, and then this symbol, AUDCHF, or something very similar to what I just said. Okay, so that's something to look out for if you happen to be interested in watching that trade, or you're in it, or whatever. Okay, so that's I will be potentially issuing an update for this in the next several hours to overnight. Potentially not. But there is a stop, there is a target. If there are any questions, please send it now because we are about to wrap up. In terms of Aussie CAD, obviously that is not a pip room trade, but an alert will likely go out on that, whether it's stop adjustment or
that was an email alert, wasn't it?
It is an email and app alert, exactly. Yep. All right, folks. Tag, thanks for a great session. Interesting session. Very slow, folks. Very slow kind of trading for a while. And things finally got interesting right as we're wrapping up. Trading's always ebb and flow. So got to roll with that. And certainly got interesting. So I'm excited for this week. I see a lot that has potential.
Compared to last week. It was last week where we came in and it's like I had like 3 things on my list and 2 of them were marginal. I was like, this week got a lot more that I'm looking at. So.
Yeah, me too. So we'll hope some of these things come to fruition. And folks, thanks very much for being with us. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you on Wednesday, bright and early. We'll start at 8 a.m. Eastern, and have a great couple days. See you then.
Yep, see you Wednesday.
All right, folks, so it looks like that third trade, they just took it out at break even. I guess they just decided that it wasn't going to go their way. Obviously, a break-even trade is better than a losing trade. But as you guys can see right here on this AUD CAD, we are currently up about 37 pips right now. which is obviously a good thing. We have quite a ways to go to hit our profit target, about another 57 pips. So I'll continue watching this. And actually, if you guys want to watch it as well, you can just come to the website, click on wealth generators right there, scroll down, click on the chart. And that'll take you to my MyFXBook account. And you can actually keep up with exactly what that trade is doing down here under open trades. So here it is right here. And this updates every 5 minutes, I believe. So you'll be able to just refresh the page and you'll be able to see exactly what's happening with those two trades that we have open. All right, so that's going to be it. I'm going to go ahead and finish this video and get it out to you guys here. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to send them my way. Last week, I also wanted to mention last week we didn't have a good start to the week, but this definitely is a much better start than what we had last week. So that's a good sign here. And hopefully some of the changes that they made, I believe after last Thursday's trading, hopefully some of those changes will give us more consistent wins. So, you guys will be able to see that. All right. For more information on FX Simplifier, make sure you click the link below, and I'll see you guys on the